Welcome to Between Two Hops, a segment on the Taproom exclusive inspired by Inside the Actors Studio, where I get to know my guest a little better. I'm your host, Dean Zarbaugh. I'm joined today by Michael Pelechaty, Masthead Brewing Company's brewmaster and co-founder. Let's get started. What's your favorite style of beer to drink and to brew?
To drink right now, it's probably Pilsner.
Okay.
I get blown out with all the giant beers that we make often, so it's just nice to come back to drinking a Pils, something a little lighter, something that takes a lot of brewing prowess and technique to do really well. You can't really hide many flaws there.
Right.
To brew, I've been really having fun with Double New Englands and some of the bigger beers. I think they're really they're actually very challenging because since the style is so new, there's not a guidebook like there is for some of the other beer styles out there.
That's true. I never thought about that. What on the other end of it? What's your least favorite style to brew and to drink?
Least favorite. That's a little bit harder.
Because beer's beer. Beer's good.
Yeah, that's difficult because I like beer in general.
And it's not saying that the style's bad. It's just maybe something that you don't normally go to.
Yeah, I think some of the lighter American ales, like an American Blonde or something in that range.
Yeah.
Because if I'm drinking a light beer, I'd rather it be a lager. And likewise with brewing a light beer, I like brewing light lagers. But light American ales, I'd rather make an IPA or something with a little bit more nuance.
Yeah, I agree. I get that. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Ooh.
Man, some of these are going to get...
Yeah, this is getting deep.
Yeah, we're going to get deep here. Oh, this is just the beginning. This is only question 3.
Maybe underwater welding.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
You've ever read the comic book Underwater Welder?
No.
There's a comic book called Underwater Welder. It's written by Jeff Lemire.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting because it's like the Twilight Zone, but underwater.
Yeah, just crazy stuff happening.
Really crazy stuff because it has to deal with air, how much air he has and stuff like that. So he starts seeing things. Yeah. And it just starts really getting weird. So that's just weird that total
that's
coincidence.
Awesome.
But yeah, Underwater Welder by Jeff Lemire. I think you would like that. What profession other than your own would you not like to do?
Anything that's involving like drawing or any sort of like fine motor skilled art. Just not very good at it.
I'm not good at it either.
I love appreciating art.
Yeah.
Like my girlfriend's very, very artistic. I'm a little bit more, left-brained.
Yeah, I can't. I draw stick figures.
Or is that right-brained? Whichever one's sciencey.
I don't remember anymore. I used to know that one. I think you were right the first time. Which hurdles did you personally face in opening the brewery, and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, so in general, people think all it takes is just making great beer and having an aptitude on the brewing side, but you don't get to even do any of that for like the first 2 years when you try to open a brewery. You're going to banks and trying to get loans and writing a business plan and doing, managing construction project. And I think it was just the most difficult part was that we had a new challenge almost every month, and it was something that none of us had really tackled before. So it was like teaching yourself an entire new skill set like every month for 2 years or something.
Because this the idea for this place came about like 2012 or so, right?
Yeah.
So it's not an overnight thing like most people think.
Yeah. It's there's quite a bit of the business side that even once you have the brewing kind of locked down. And even brewing, I'm always learning new things, and I think you'll find most brewers saying that they feel like they don't even have that locked down after years in the brewing industry. But managing construction was definitely pretty difficult.
I can only imagine. What is the most interesting trend that you saw in 2018?
In 2018, I think the 2 ingredients that I'm seeing trending the most were vanilla and lactose.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that was like really unique where you're having a lot more big dessert beers and vanilla being added to different fruited IPAs and different things. So that was something I didn't, and I don't know if that any trend most people see coming per se, but I definitely didn't see that coming, but I think there's some beers with those ingredients that taste really awesome. So it's pretty cool.
It seems like it's kind of just the next step in New England's. It's
Yeah.
like the next step of
Yeah.
evolution in that style. If you had to pick a least favorite trend of 2018,
I don't think that I have a least favorite per se, but I do think that sometimes some of the more classic styles are being completely forgotten in lieu of some of the styles that just involve putting a lot of stuff in beer.
right?
And that's sometimes just a little bit difficult to come to terms with as a brewer, because a lot of us like the simplicity of like a great Pilsner or even a great
Right.
West Coast IPA. So, that can be somewhat challenging. But at the same time, I mean, it is nice to experiment with some of the newer flavors that people are wanting to drink.
Yeah, like every once in a while, I like coming in and just getting a nice American light lager, a craft American light lager, and just to have a good old beer tasting beer.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
but then there's times where I want that palate wrecking IPA.
Yeah.
I just want something.
Yeah, absolutely.
It just depends on my mood. What is one piece of practical advice you would give to someone starting out in craft beer?
As a drinker, as a brewer, or both?
Both.
I would say definitely drink as much beer as you can, and I mean, be responsible about it.
Right.
But in terms of variety, so you can open up your palate to the widest variety of flavors, I think that's really important. I think developing your palate is going to be the best tool, especially as a brewer, that you have.
Oh yeah, that's been the fun part for me is seeing what I like, seeing what I don't like. If you could send a message to yourself 10 years ago, what would you tell the younger you?
10 years ago, how old was I? I would probably say, switch into, biochemistry or food science, or, don't torture yourself in double E.
Give yourself a little leg up when you get into the beer side of things. What or who has been the biggest influence in your brewing career?
So I'm gonna have to go with two people on that. Jerome Welliver was the founder and owner of Black Box, and him giving me the opportunity to work in the industry and giving me a lot of flexibility was definitely really significant for my development as a brewer. I think it was really important, and I can't thank him enough. Masthead wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for Black Box.
Yeah.
And then I also think, I learned a lot about brewing from Jamil Zainashev's podcast.
Okay.
So he has a podcast on the Brewing Network, Brewing with Style. And that was, I think, really important to kind of learn different approaches to brewing different styles of beer and what you're looking for and what good examples are. Because
you can sit down and read a book or something, and then that's just the one perspective on.
Yeah,
on
there's no
industry.
Discussion in a book. Whereas if you have four guys who are really acclaimed brewers discussing a style, I think you learn a lot more about it.
Oh, absolutely. Mike, thank you so much for your time. Tune in next month for another edition of Between Two Hops here on the Taproom Exclusive, and catch up on past episodes by subscribing to the Taproom Exclusive on YouTube.